WNS Atlanta, Georgia for Super Bowl 53 coverage. All of our coverage will be brought to you by our friends at Coons Florida Security Boulevard. And, of course, our tech service awaiting the official announcement of all things John Harbaugh and contract. Dennis Colatzos hosts our Thursday SSV on WNST. He'll be here from 3 until 5. Joining me now in the aftermath of what can only be described as a fiasco on Sunday. I had a dear friend of mine who's not one for hyperbole text me and say, this is sort of a crisis in the league when they put the wrong team in the Super Bowl, Dan.
Well, I don't believe that. I think the right teams made the Super Bowl. I think the teams that are there deserve to be there. We just can't take plays we don't like or calls we don't like and toss them out. We have to look at them in its totality. And I'm not one for excuses. I'm not one to blame, complain, or explain. And I had a lot of fun watching smug Sean Payton do all of the above. I think people are making too big of a deal of officiating. Bad calls are there all the time, right? But there's about a half a dozen
Hold on. If that was you with the Ravens, how would you have felt about that? If that had happened like that in the San Francisco 49er game, that there had been an absolute mugging and you lose the Super Bowl because it's one thing to lose because of a kick. I think it's a different thing when all of America's watching this week, and we'll be talking about it next week as well. It's very, very unfortunate for the league that they would get a call wrong in those sort of circumstances.
Well, if we were let me frame it to you this way. If we were at home, we had a home AFC championship game, and you told me that our quarterback was going to have the ball 4 straight times in the fourth quarter plus overtime, and he would come away with 1 field goal and 1 interception, I would tell you that we probably deserve to lose. And that's what's lost in this thing is that Drew Brees had multiple chances at home with a quiet home crowd at his back to win the game. He didn't execute. It was just one more play here by him, 1 play there. They didn't do it. Give the Rams all the credit in the world. Those fans were just incredible. Probably gave them the biggest home field advantage in NFL history with a crowd noise. It definitely affected adversely the Rams' offense, and the Rams, through all that adversity, came out with a win. So to me, all the credit, all the hail goes to the Rams. They're supposed to be in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 53. They're supposed to be playing the New England Patriots. And to me, all the other stuff is baloney.
Dennis Colatzos is here. He says it's baloney, but look, for the league to have games this good, go to overtime, on a weekend like this, and to have Tom Brady standing, and to have Jared Goff, and to get the Rams into the Super Bowl, this thing will clean up nicely to some degree, but it is a little milquetoast to me, right? I mean, anytime the Patriots get in, I can appreciate the greatness of it, but I would like it more to see Mahomes. I would like it more to see someone, not Tom Brady, be on the wall while I'm broadcasting for a week at the Super Bowl. Luke and I have been discussing this. They've been to half the Super Bowls over this century. Literally, every other year they're there.
Well, if you like history, you're gonna like the matchup. And for me, I wanted to see a Rams-Chiefs Super Bowls for all the reasons you mentioned. But look, it is what it is. Tom Brady starts trying to add to his legacy, he and Bill Belichick. It's going to be a very compelling matchup. We're all going to tune in. I think it's good for the league. I mean, everybody's buzzing. We had people watch both of those overtime games, the controversy. It's a bit like pro wrestling, right? It's controversy is good. Even if it's a bad controversy, it's very good. And so we'll be buzzing about this right up until the Super Bowl, right? I think it's good for the league. I don't think it's bad at all.
Dennis Colatzos is here. He is doing the good work over Coons Florida Security Boulevard, trying to keep all the frost off the vehicles over there this time of the year. Tell me what's going on at your place because, cold weather, and I guess this is the time of the year where you're like, all right, do I have the right car for these weather conditions, right?
Well, they all have heat. We talked about that at my sales meeting. We have heat in every single vehicle, over 1,000 brand new and used cars and trucks and SUVs. And they all have heat that really, really works, Nestor. The windows are nice and tight to seal against the elements. We have heated seats, heated steering wheels. So we have people everywhere all the time.
You won't sell them without heat, is what you're telling me, huh?
We don't. Heat is standard these days. So it's a great thing. And again, I like the Saints. We don't cry. We don't make excuses. We execute. We take care of our customers. And when we drop the ball, we own up to it. That's how we roll. That's our culture around here. We make the extra play. We go the extra mile, and we don't leave it to the referee's hand to make that call.
But have you ever been accused of pass interference?
but back to football. When the Ravens lost to the Patriots years ago in 2011, when we had the Lee Evans play in the end zone and also the Cundiff miss, Look, again, it doesn't come down to one play. We won it a year later. We weren't supposed to win it in 2011. I'm a firm believer of things happen for a reason, and things are not accidental. And I think the refs got it right. I think the right teams are going to be in Super Bowl 53.
Well, in the case of the Ravens at this point, John Harbaugh, I know we've been throwing this around, and there was an opportunity for him to leave. This was the opportunity for Steve Bisciotti to say, no, I want you to stay, and here's how much I want you to stay. It took 2 weeks. It's been a weird, awkward couple of weeks for the Ravens, right? Like, the silence has had a statement of its own to people like you and I think, right?
Absolutely, and I got to give you all the credit in the world. You were way ahead of it. You said, look, these guys are chummy. They talk 4 or 5 times a week, no matter what week it is in the course of a year. And you were way ahead of any other sportscaster, sports personality in this town. Everybody else saying, they're having trouble. He and DeCosta don't get along. And you said, look, it's hogwash. And you know what? That's why I listen to you and WNST, because you know what you're talking about, right? You know about the special relationship those two guys have, and by all accounts, he'll get another 3, 4, 5 years as head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. So it was much ado about nothing for the last couple of weeks.
But I think it's a lot to do about everything when you decide who your leader is going to be, right? And I know we have talked about this at length, Dennis, but the caliber of people who were hired in the last week or two. And look, Adam Gase notwithstanding, he might be fine with the Jets. As I said, you learn a lot more the second time around, right? And I've had 3 or 4 berths here as a sportscaster during the course of my life, and I'm, envisioning the rest of my life as a 50-year-old man. And I think that those are the kinds of questions that Steve Bisciotti would like to say, do I want a third head coach right now? I have a second general manager, John Harbaugh. Do I want a second lease at life the way Andy Reid had, or the way Bill Belichick has had, or the way Adam Gase is about to get? Do I want to create a second place? And I think John and Steve have thought about that and said, not right now. I like being here. I like living in Baltimore. My wife likes it. My daughter's about to go to college. We're about to have a new general manager here. So finding that weekend where you all get together in Florida and have some iced tea and sit around the pool a little bit and talk about some things, I know for Steve that's a very, very that retreat part of his management. And I've had that with every significant partner I've ever had from a business standpoint in my life. And I know sometimes the best business you do isn't out at Coons Florida Security Boulevard. It's to get away and say, we're going to have a little retreat amongst people, amongst leaders, and sometimes getting out of that environment, taking a little breath. That's probably not a bad thing for everybody involved as they now kumbaya it and deal Joe Flacco and decide what they're going to do with Weddle and Suggs and Yonda and all the other decisions they have. But the first decision is, are we still running this the same way? And I think that's what they did the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And, for all of the naysayers out there, the one question I've had, Nestor, consistently is, if not John Harbaugh, then who? Who would you rather have coaching the Baltimore Ravens? And, you and I went through the exercise of my show last week. You gave me a bunch of names, and I said no, right? Because there's just not that many great head coaches out there. We happen to have a top 5, maybe a top 3 head coach in the NFL. So if we don't extend him, then who do you bring in? Do you bring in an offensive guru, a coordinator that has 0 NFL experience? Do you hire a retread? So to me, I didn't come up with any names. I couldn't see anyone else coaching the Baltimore Ravens except for John Harbaugh. My crystal ball showed him being here for the years to come.
For you with this Super Bowl matchup, I know we'll have a chance to talk a little later on in the week on your show from 3 to 5 on Thursday on the SSV, but can you bet against Tom Brady in this sort of environment? The way they've played the last 2 weeks, the way they played against the Chargers, the way that they played this week against the Chiefs, I find it very hard to dislike them. Although when you look at the Lawrence guys and, the kind of lunch pail guys they have on that team, you don't see Edelman going to the Hall of Fame or Hogan or any Gronkowski you do. How about that 97 snaps for him in the AFC Championship game, right?
Well, again, I don't know how the guy does it, Nestor. By all accounts, he's had a bad back. Not much you can do with a bad back, particularly run blocking. He's been lights out in the running game, just blowing people off the ball, which is something I can't understand, unless, of course, the Patriots aren't fully disclosing accurate information on the weekly injury report, wink, wink. But that aside, it's hard to bet against Belichick and Tom Brady. I'd like to see the Rams win. I'd like to see some freshness. I like their running game. I like their head coach. I like the defense. I like the fact they're playing in a dome. I think that helps the Rams and their offense. But you can never count out those Patriots, can you?
Well, I think everybody's going to be rooting for the Rams, right? I said to Luke, I don't think I own anything Rams-oriented. I did have a man crush on Fred Dreyer at one point. He was, I've never had Fred Dreyer on the show. Jack Youngblood many times, Deacon Jones used to come by, all the old Rams. Obviously, the Kurt Warner era and Marshall Faulk and all that. I remember being down in Atlanta when it was like 20 degrees and we were ice skating up and down Peachtree. Feels like a minute ago. It's been 20 years now since the Rams kept the title away from my boy Jimmy Schwartz and Jeff Fisher and Steve McNair and all those guys at the goal line. For me, the Rams were the best team in football early in the year, and I think they had to deal with the loss of Cooper Kupp. I think anytime you lose players like that, the Chiefs didn't recover in the end from their loss. And here are the Patriots again. I find it hard to bet against them and against Belichick taking a 2-week game plan against the Rams. I think the Patriots are going to win. I'm not going to be proud of saying that, but at some point next week, I'm going to get some Rams swag, Den, because I'm going to be pulling for the Rams. And by the way, my man John Fossil, special teams coordinator of the Rams.
I think to your point, all of America is going to be rooting for the Rams. And but again, the hoodie, the game plan, the way he takes away what you do best, and we all knew that when the Patriots won the coin toss, we knew the outcome. You just knew that Tom Brady was going to take the ball and march it right down the field and just kill and put a dagger in the Kansas City Chiefs' heart, and that's exactly what he did. We've seen it too many times. They're like Freddy Krueger. You just can't kill them, right? You think they're dead, and they just keep coming back. But again, you can't kill something that just won't die, right? You got to give the devil his due at some point, and what a great dynasty, right? It's unheard of what they've done, what they've been able to do in the modern day of free agency, hasn't it?
Makes me loathe them even more. Dennis Kalatzis is here from Coons Florida Security Boulevard. Make sure you get on our WNST tech service. It's all sponsored by Coons Florida Security Boulevard, and you'll get the breaking news as it happens whenever we deal Joe Flacco. I want to circle back to the beginning here, Den, because, you let the officials off, too easy by saying, it doesn't matter, the best team wins, it's just one call and all that. Then there is the question of, what's the league going to do to make it better? Not make it right, not fix it, not apologize to Sean Payton or fall on the sword or, have every Steratore and Blandino and Pereira second-guess them and, all that stuff. But what are they going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again? We always ask that.
Yeah, they've gone on a cheap, Nestor, over space and time. They're the only major sport that has part-time officials, which is something I can't wrap my head around. You've got some of these older guys in their 50s and 60s trying to keep up with 22-year-olds. That just doesn't happen. So I can see them, getting Dean Blandino out of the comfort of the announcer's booth and bringing him back in and making him maybe the head of the Referees Association and having some full-time referees and paying these guys money so that way they can train year-round, they can become better at what they do, they can all get on the same page. With the NFL, for all the money that they make, clearly they have to focus on making the officiating more consistent and better. And it starts with leadership. But I think that Dean Blandino is the right guy, and hopefully he and Roger Goodell will get together and iron something out in the offseason because long term it'll hurt the brand for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sty, at this point, and everyone saw it on full display, and in the era of social media outrage. And I tweeted then, the only place they hate Roger Goodell more than New Orleans is New England. I thought he could have had the Daily Double and screwed them both in the end. But nonetheless, the Patriots, they got a bad guy. They've got their Ric Flair, they've got their Hulk Hogan, their Hollywood, whatever they want for whatever this matchup is. They got L.A. and Boston, just like the Dodgers and the Red Sox, right? They got Stan Kroenke's team in, and that will lube up the opening of the stadium out there. Remember, it was a minute ago that the Rams are moving to L.A., and we're like, they suck. They better win if they ever want to catch on out there. Well, here we go, right? So this is a dream for the NFL in regard to coming back to L.A. and having that team in the Super Bowl 2 years later.
Well, every good movie needs a villain, Nestor. So my question is, once Belichick retires and once Brady retires, who are we going to hate and root as much as we do if it's not the Patriots, right? Somebody else has to take that mantle, and they set the bar so high in terms of being hated, despised, and between the cheating and Deflategate and the video gate and whatever else that they do up there.
Well, they did have a murder or two. They did draft and harbor a murderer. Yes, they did.
Serial murderers on the team and whatnot.
They did.
They knew what they drafted as well. But, it's going to be difficult to find somebody else that can incite that passion of hate in all of us as the New England Patriots. They bring out the worst in all of us as fans, for sure.
You couldn't conjure that up for Tony Dungy and Peyton Manning, could you?
No, not at all. They're two likable guys, two class acts, and when you flip it over to the hoodie and Tom Brady, I mean, they leave a lot to be desired, and you can't tell me that taking the air out of the ball for 8 years didn't help them win consistently, especially with their running backs and not fumbling and holding on to the ball as they did. They led the league in the least amount of turnovers over space and time. To me, their legacy deserves a couple of asterisks, not just one. But at the end of the day, we just remember Super Bowl, right, and rings, although the way they got them leaves a lot to be desired.
Dennis, I'm going to be getting off the plane Sunday in Atlanta, and Tom Brady is going to be 10 stories high on buildings and on every overpass that I find in Atlanta. I'll get through it. I've gotten through the other 8 or 9, or however many it's been at this point. So
how many does he have?
I don't even know, dude.
It's a lot, right?
I have completely lost count of. Okay, so you want to add them up because I was trying to do this the other night. The first one was in New Orleans, right? So,
yep.
So I'm going to go year-by-year record. Let's just I want to get them all up in front of me. Patriots history. All right, here we go. Let's start. Well, starts in 01, won the Super Bowl. 02, they didn't. 03, they won the Super Bowl. That was the Carolina Panthers, right? 04, yep. They won the Super Bowl. That's 3. They lost the Super Bowl in 07. That was the first Eli loss, right? Okay, then they lost the Super Bowl in 11. That was the 11. They lost that one, and that was the second Eli Manning. That was
the Manningham reception.
That was the Indianapolis Super Bowl. Then they won the Super Bowl in 14. Which one was that one? 14. Where was that one?
The Falcons, right?
No, Falcons was 2 years. That was 16.
Man.
In 14, who did they beat?
That many.
Hold on. Did they beat the Packers one year, or am I nuts? They all run together. 14 Super Bowl. Hold on here. I'm looking it up. Let's see here. Super Bowl 14. They beat the Seahawks. Oh, that was the game that they didn't run the ball. Marshawn Lynch didn't run the ball.
Lynch at the 4-yard line, correct.
So, so they've lost 2, 3, because they lost to the Eagles. They were there last year, too.
5-3, right? 5-3.
They lost to the Eagles last year. Yeah, okay. So there you have it. I've done the math. This is 9.
5-3. Yes. This is number 9. That's amazing. That's insane. What's this, Brady's 18th year, or is it more than that? I mean, my goodness gracious, the guy's been playing forever. I mean, he's been to Super Bowls half of his career, Nestor.
I wonder what fans still go. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a diehard Patriot fan, it's $10,000.
I tell you, you know what? A guy paid. I saw this. A Patriots fan paid $180,000 for 8 tickets on the 50-yard line yesterday. $180 for 8 tickets on the 50.
I'm talking about a regular fan. Like if you're a regular fan, this is if you're our age, this is your 10th chance to see them play in a Super Bowl because you go back to 95. The original Drew Bledsoe, Brett Favre, Desmond Howard game in New Orleans as well. And you've had 10 chances to go. I wonder who still goes to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time. And the Eagles fans, outnumbered last year by far, the Patriots fans. I don't know where the Rams fans are. I don't know how LA'd up this is going to be because I know no one from St. Louis is coming to Atlanta. I know that much, Den.
Yeah, that's very true. But I don't know if I lived in New England, I think I would try to make every single one of them, right? Because you're part of such a great history, right? And they do have very good fans. I mean, those fans are nuts about their football team up there and their baseball team as well. I mean, they're good fans. And their basketball team, it's a good sports town.
By the way, Dennis, last time the New England Patriots won single digits, I'm talking 9 or less games, was what year?
Oh, man. Shoot. 90. They still have Pat the Patriot on their helmets. How about that? When Steve Rogan was a quarterback, maybe 1999. I don't know.
2002, they went 9-7 in 2002. They went 5-11 in Bill Belichick's first year of 2000. They were 8-8 under Pete Carroll, 9-7 under Pete Carroll, and 10-6 under Pete Carroll. You're going back to Grogan here. They were 1-15 in 1990, if that matters, under Dick McPherson. Wow. Yes. Rod Rust was once the head coach of the New England Patriots in 1990. The 1-15 New England Patriots. It's been a little while since that era. Raymond Barry did 5 years in the late 80s, as did Ron Meyer and Ron Earhart and Chuck Fairbanks. I'm going way back now, but yes.
Well, Barry had the misfortune of playing the 85 Bears in the Super Bowl, so that was a complete washout for him.
I forgot about that one. That's right, the Patriots. Yeah. That was the Tony Eason.
That is correct.
That was over before it started. Talk about snowstorms. Dennis, take care of yourself. We will see you, if not at Coons Ford Security Boulevard, keeping warm out there. We'll check in with you Thursday from 3 until 5 on the SSV, and we will continue to turn back the pages of Patriots history next week from Atlanta and Super Bowl 53. Go Rams!
Go Rams. Be well. Thanks a lot, Nestor.
Go Rams. Vince Ferragamo, Pat Hayden. Bring it on. Joe Namath. Maybe not. I go back with John Hadel. That's how far back I go. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. Don't forget, Dennis is here on Thursday from 3 until 5. Check him out, as well as our WNST text service for all breaking news, all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.